So what we have here is the Five of Pentacles, hands outstretched. Somebody that you're dealing with is wanting, you know, like the assistance, um, wanting the financial assistance, needing help, or constantly asking because they might have poor time, money management skills. I'm seeing as well for some of you, um, you know, Virgos, you guys are really, really, really kind people. You're very, very kind people. But like with all acts of kindness, I feel like, you know, you want to devote your energy and your resources and your time to help people who are willing to help themselves. If someone has fallen on hard times, of course you want to help them out, right? And then you hope that, you know, not because you want anything in return, but you hope that, oh, they're dealing with a bump in the road. So if I help them, they're going to overcome it and then they'll be okay. And then there are people where they make really bad decisions over and over and over and over again, and they don't learn. And you feel like if I help them, they're never going to be able to help themselves. They're never going to be able to, you know, learn responsibility. So I feel like some of you have been dealing with this and you're coming to the realization that the other person's taking me for a ride. And if I keep helping them, it doesn't teach them responsibility. In fact, it's enabling this type of behavior. So I'm going to put a stop to it. So you have somebody here that's like, woe is me. Okay. Three of Swords. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. It's almost like, can't you see what's happening to me? And it's lacking in the ability to take on responsibility, to accept our responsibilities, to accept that we somehow contributed to this situation and we're here now, but we don't accept responsibilities and we cast the blame on other people. So I feel like you're kind of stealing up, or you are trying to show somebody, you know, some tough love. You're trying to let somebody learn their karmic lesson. Okay, this is not about spite. This is not about vindictiveness. This is not about turning our back on a person that needs help. This is more about dealing with someone specifically where they're not really seeing or taking ownership of their actions, and over and over and over and over again, they're not able to connect that, you know what, I created these problems, I'm going to have to fix it. So I feel this energy here about you detaching yourself, about you telling the other person, you know, I can no longer help you. However, I have these resources or these people that you can get assistance from. Or, you know, if you want something, you have to work for it. Okay. So for those of you who are dealing with this in children, somebody wants somebody cuts corners. I feel somebody cuts corners. They want the easy way out. They don't want to, you know, learn delay gratification and, self-discipline and, you know, work hard so that you can be proud of your work. They just want to cut corners. And I feel like you're kind of telling them in very, you know, few words, like, if you want to get money for that, you have to work for it. Okay. So I feel like you're kind of drawing the line, and you're being very firm with another person. I also feel as well for some of you, this honestly, I don't feel a lot of children. I feel like it's somebody who's an adult. Okay. It's somebody who is like over the age of 18. It's almost like from your perspective, you feel like they should know better. And, you're sympathetic. I feel like you care about this person. You don't have any vindictiveness or any malice or any anger towards them. You just want to tell them, you know, the concept of karma, and you want them to really understand the value of hard work, and you want them to understand that you can cut your corners your whole life, and at the end of your life, you're going to have nothing to show for it. And I feel like you just want them to understand that there are ramifications to their actions, and they're having a really hard time seeing it because I feel like they've been manipulated, and they've They've been doing this with a lot of people, and they've gotten away with it because I feel like you're dealing with someone who's very slippery and very slick. Okay, like the world is there for my taking. Like someone who's very self-absorbed. Very self-absorbed. In the relationship front, however, we have a different energies. I feel like some of you are in a relationship with somebody who is very careful with money. Okay, it's somebody who wants to get their money's worth. From an outsider's perspective, they might be considered calculating or too cautious with money. So, you know, in a way, it's like somebody who others perceive to be very, like, to be a little bit more on the stingy side. But I feel like they have a lot of love to give. What we have here is the Lovers. And this is like shouldering the responsibilities of the relationship. It's somebody who's very practical. It's somebody who's very grounded. I mean, like, there are two people here, and he's holding her up with his legs. Okay, so it's like he's shouldering the responsibilities. So I feel like whoever it is that you're dealing with, male or female, this is somebody that's like, honestly, at the end of your life, you want this person by your side. When you're 80 years old and you're sick and you're no longer, you know, young and spriteful and youthful and attractive, this is still somebody that's going to love you for you. They're going to be there for you to make sure you take your medicine. You know, like when we think of like a really old couple, right? And the physical attraction might or might not be still be there. And we think about, you know, declining health and whether or not we're going to be in our best shape. This is somebody that will be there for you through thick and thin, because that's just the way they are. So I feel like you have a partner, you have somebody that will be there for you through thick and thin. And some of you are cognizant of this fact as well. They might not be like the most romantic type of a person, but they're very stable, very loving, very nurturing. And, you know, they don't mind taking care of you. They'll be there when you're sick. They'll be there through the bad times. Okay. It's somebody who's not going away, who doesn't shy away or, you know, run for the hills at the first sign of trouble. It's somebody with sustaining power. So you've got somebody that's really, it seems to me almost like a karmic relationship here. I have here the Six of Pentacles and also the Five of Pentacles. These are big karma cards in my book. They could be good or bad. Both of them. Usually I think of karma as, you know, what you give out is what you get back. And both of these cards are falling out in this spread, 5 and 6, which basically means you have some good karma coming back to roost. And then if you're dealing with this karma from the other person who's not really learning responsibility, then I definitely feel like that might be associated with their energy. But aside from that, I feel like there might be a karmic relationship. It's somebody who, the two of you are learning a lot from one another. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like the other person, you know, Virgos, like I mentioned before, I feel like you're turning your back, right? And you're turning your back on opportunists. And I feel like many of you, when you're young, you guys, not that you're not sweet and adorable and, you know, very kind and loving, you still are all of these things. But I feel like in the process of going through life and dealing with very, very self-serving people and dealing with people who are like emotionally irrational, explosive, or just so self-absorbed, I feel like it has dampened your faith in humanity. That's what I'm sensing. So I feel like that sense of unconditional love, unconditional trust, that sense of childhood abandonment, I feel like it's life has taken a toll on you where you're no longer naive and innocent and trusting and you know, giving your heart away. You're very selective about where you're giving your energy at this point that I'm reading for many of you guys. And I feel like the other person that's in your life, yes, they're calculating. Yes, they're practical. Yes, and all of these things. but they have like a calmness about them where they have a really good understanding of human character. They have a really good sense of, we're all humans. We make mistakes. This person might be an opportunist, but they probably grew up with a lot of people that were like that, and that's why they're like that. So this person is giving you a sense of wisdom. They're kind of broadening your worldview. They're able to show you kind of like another side of looking at a situation or looking at a person. And I feel like they're teaching you a lot about, generosity. Not so much financial generosity, although for some of you it could be, but they're teaching you about like the generosity of the spirit, okay? Which is, many of you are very hard on yourself, okay? You're perfectionistic. You beat yourself up when you do something wrong. And the thing is, when we're really hard on ourselves, we're also very hard on other people. Okay, right? So the other person that you're dealing with here, this is either a lover, a relationship partner, somebody you're interested in. I feel like they're very forgiving. They're very forgiving. They understand that we all have flaws. They understand that we don't always grow up in the best environment. And so hate the action of the person, but don't hate the person. And they're teaching you to not be so harsh. That's what I'm seeing. They're teaching you about that, spiritual generosity. Don't be so hard on other people because it's a reflection of how hard you are on yourself. Don't be too critical of other people because you are very critical of yourself. And, accept the flaws, accept that things are not always perfect, accept that we're human. And so I feel like there is a very uplifting situation happening here where somebody is showing you a different perspective, a different side of a situation. And I feel almost like this is something where it's taking you outside of your element in order for you to truly understand it. Okay, what I have here is the Knight of Wands. This is like rushing in, arguments, defending a situation, defending our beliefs, fighting on a moral ground. So for example, if you're holding back your generosity because the other person is just like taking advantage of it, they're not learning. And you're just like, no, I'm going to hold my ground because this is about the principle. This is not about, giving the money or being generous. This is about letting the other person kind of learn their lesson. And then I feel like there's something here about, standing your ground, fighting something on a matter of principle, like it's the principle of work ethics. It's the principle of not taking the easy way out. It's the principle of hard work and, delayed gratification. These are the things that you really want the other person to understand. And I just feel like there is a paradigm shift here where it requires you to kind of step out of your element and to really understand where the other person is coming from. I have here the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands. I usually think of this as a family unit. And I usually think of this woman, this Queen of Wands, as somebody who's very caring, and she's also very protective, and she's also very, it's almost like that mother's love type of energy. Okay, mother's love, like mother's forgiveness, a mother's unconditional love, seeing the other person as a person. We can hate the trait in the other person, but we really shouldn't discredit the person. We really shouldn't discredit their humanity. So I feel like you're dealing with someone who's really, really changing your worldview. And we have the world as well. And they're teaching you a lot more about forgiveness. They're showing you to be more understanding. They're showing you to be more forgiving. And I feel like they're showing you to be all of these lessons that you're learning from the other person. They're showing you how to be kind of like less harsh when it comes to your judgment, because ultimately I feel like many of you are very hard on yourself as well. So I see like a little bit of a sleight of hand, and I see a situation where things are not what they seem. You're getting some major epiphanies. It's almost like this person is like this, but or under harsh conditions, they're like this. So I feel like you're seeing really, really good sides to people, okay? And I feel like there might be, it's almost like, whoa, I thought things were one way, but then now things are turning to be a different way. But I feel like it's a turn in a better direction, all right? Let me see if there's anything else. So what I have here is this King of Swords, and I want to see if this is the opportunist that you're dealing with or somebody else. Okay, give me just a moment. This King of Swords. So I have an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. I feel like for some of you, there might have been a separation here. Three of Swords, King of Swords, with an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And I feel like they're thinking about you. They're wondering about you. And they're just like, do you miss me? Does the Virgo person miss me? Are they okay? What are they up to? Do they not see me trying to reach out? Have they, especially if they have been sending you messages, they feel very, very left out by you. For some of you, I feel like you have moved away from this person like once and for all. And, you know, you are really trying to block communication. You're trying to block solicitation from this person. Reaching out, getting blocked. Okay. So I feel like you're trying to block communication and solicitation from this person. So Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And I almost see this sense of like, I've learned who you are. I know who you are, and I've moved on. Okay, so there's a very strong sense of finality associated with this. That is all I have for you here. Virgos, I'm sorry, I'm blanking out. What I do feel, one last thing is, I feel like there's a situation where, you know, if someone has already revealed their true character, I feel like it's already, you know, it's like cracking that egg, right? Cracking that egg. It's already cracked. You can't put the yolk and the white stuff back into the cracked shells, okay? Cracked eggs. So it's sort of like things have already been hatched. Everything's already hatched. Everything has already been determined. So I feel like you can't really go back to a situation from the past, okay?